Hey, painting peeps, guess what? Guess what we're going to paint? I don't hear anything. That? What is that? That's a Scarlet Ibis. Am I cheating using a photograph? Kind of. Why? Well, I haven't painted a zillion ibises. Once I've painted a few zillion, actually more like 2 or 3, I don't need to look at it anymore. But I want to make sure I get all the angles right. And I don't want to make him not be an ibis because all my bird nerd friends will throw me under the bus and say that doesn't look like an ibis. Scarlet ibises are in South America. They once in a blue moon will roll up into the Caribbean, into the Florida, and there's a possibility Mexico and maybe Texas if everything was just right. But apparently this happened a long time ago, but nothing in the last umpteen years. So we're going to figure out how we're going to do this. Where are we going to put this bird? Well, I have red paint on here. I'm going to take this little round brush that I was using before. I'm going to put some of this red paint and maybe a little bit of green on it. If you want to tone down green, put red in it. If you want red to be toned down, you put green in it. It's like magic. So what and where are we going to put him? Ooh, I don't know. I'd like to think I want to balance it and have him here, and then maybe have something else here, and then maybe something else here. So you look at his head. It kind of goes like this. See, because I'm not copying this photograph. I'm just using him for reference. People think, oh, you're copying. Oh my gosh. What's the difference if you're out there painting this thing and you're staring at the real bird and you paint him, okay? Versus you have a photograph and you're looking at that and you're painting it. You're looking at it, just one is not moving. You know what I mean? I've had people get really upset at me and go, you paint from photograph, that's not real art. Oh my gosh. You know, now if you traced it and you sat there and you used a projector or whatever and put it onto the canvas and traced it and then filled it in, I'd be like, you know what, that is kind of weak, but that's not really. This, on the other hand, I'm looking at him for reference just so I get him right. I want to make sure I get his little tail feathers right. I want to make sure I get his legs, his little rear end, all that good stuff. See? There. And he has those little leggies. See, proportions are important. You know, and one of the things about proportions, and you see people hold up, those stereotypical movies showing artists that are all wearing their beret and they are French and they are, and they show them doing this number where, okay. In reality, what you're doing is like, and I'll use a brush because I think a brush is easier to use than your finger. So you look at this guy, you look at the distance from his head to his back, okay? And the distance from his shoulder to right there, it's about 3/4. So if I look at this, I go like this, and like, contre, it is the right length. Their proportions, they are correct. See? 3/4, 3/4. 3/4, 3/4. So that's why. Even though he's bigger, he's a different angle. Proportions are proportions. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to fill this all in. I'm going to basically just kind of lay him out with this. So, his head does this. Just look at the shapes. Don't get all freaked out about details right now. You've got to break everything down into shapes. The rest of it doesn't really matter. And he's got this woofy weird bill. And if you look at the bill, it kind of comes down like this. You're like, oh, she screwed it all up. No, no, no. Start out small and then fill it in. You don't want to be big and then try and go back. That's almost impossible. But if you fill it out, see, like this, and then come down, you see the thickness there. See, it's much easier to add to it than it is to take away. So you just keep doing, you kind of laid him out, all right? And he's got this leg that kind of does this number. And then he has this kind of joint that sticks out here. And it's kind of at an angle. Then his other leg kind of does this. And I'm looking at the photograph, so don't freak out. And then boopity boop, boop, boop. You're making the noises makes it work better, by the way. If you don't make the boopity boops and the voots and all that, you're just gonna, your painting's gonna come out like crap. Let's just say, oops, I didn't say that. It's gonna just be icky. So his little leg is gonna go like this, right? Okay. And his little foot is gonna be under the water, so we're not gonna really see that. But this kind of does this. And then this kind of does this. And it's, like I said, make him skinny, and then he's going to get fatter. And then I can use the bigger brush, which is the bigger round one. I don't remember what size it is. It's just a round brush. You don't have to have $1 million worth of brushes. You don't have to have a $3,000 kit. You don't have to go out and buy a ton of stuff. Just there. See, you just keep adding to him, and all of a sudden, see? Is he the same as that bird? No. But what I'm looking at is his body. I'm looking at the proportions of his legs, the proportion of the size of his neck. And also, if you look, his neck is thicker where it comes in here. See? And give him a little more of a shoulder, like that. And then this kind of comes down like this. So you kind of got him laid out, basically. See?